Okay, so let's do this one together. So again, what we want to do, right, is, so now again, what we're going to do is we want to figure out what A and B are, okay? We know what C is. C is given, right? C is 4. And we're given that theta is 10 degrees, okay? That's what we're given, okay? Am I recording? Yes, I am. Did it stop sharing? Why did it stop sharing? That's weird. Okay, so again, in this example, okay, what we want to do is we want to figure out what A and B are. We're given the angle, right? And we're also given the hypotenuse. C is the hypotenuse, right? So we know theta is 10 degrees. We know that C is 4. Okay. Well, even before I go on to the next slide, hopefully you can see what would A be? What trig function would we use to get A? Well, A is the adjacent side, right? C is the hypotenuse. A is adjacent, C is hypotenuse. Adjacent, hypotenuse. So what trig function would we use? Well, adjacent, hypotenuse, we have cosine from SOHCAHTOA. So for this one, we're going to use cosine. Okay? Now, what we then get is cosine, okay? We get that cosine of 10 degrees, right? That's adjacent over hypotenuse. Cosine of 10 degrees is adjacent over hypotenuse, right? Adjacent is A, hypotenuse is 4. Before we had a C here, but I replaced it with 4. Right. So we get this. Now, we have this here, okay? Now, how do we get A? Well, we want to get A all alone, right? So we can multiply both sides by 4. If we do that, these are gonna cancel. The 4's cancel, okay? And we get A, we get cosine of 10 degrees times 4 is equal to A. In other words, well, yeah, we get that. So A we have is 4 times cosine of 10 degrees. I should have put the A on the left side here, but it's okay for now. Well, how do we get cosine of 10 degrees? Well, to get cosine of 10 degrees, that's just a calculator. And it turns out that's about equal to 0.9848. It's about equal to 0.9848. So that tells us A is about 4 times that, which is about 3.9392. So that's what this is equal to. Good. And then, of course, once we round to 2 decimal places, we get about 3.94. That's what we get here. Good. All right. Good. So we have this answer. That's what A is. Are there any questions about that? Okay. Just had to check something. Okay. All right, well, let's move on to the next part, B. So we know the hypotenuse here, right? We know the hypotenuse, okay? We want to know B, the opposite side. How do we get that? Excuse me. Well, we have opposite, hypotenuse. Let's use sine. Opposite, hypotenuse. Let's use sine. So sine of 10 degrees is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So that's what we get down here. Now, I didn't write out the calculation, but it's really just the same one as over here. I mean, instead of cosine, you have sine. Instead of A, you have B, but it's really the same kind of calculation. Namely, you multiply both sides by 4, and we get B is 4 times sine of 10 degrees. That's what we get here. Okay, now what is sine of 10 degrees? Well, that's where the calculator comes into play. Sine of 10 degrees is about 0.1736. You know, that's just from the calculator. So B, we get, is this product, which is this. And so, of course, rounding to 2 decimal places, we get 0.69. And that's our answer. Okay. All right, that's good. Now, I was going to do a synthetic division example. Are there any questions on this, though? Okay. All right, so now, right, I want to do a synthetic division example. I meant to, well, I should have taken this off, but that's okay. The reason this is here actually is notice that 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 1, we're going to divide that by x plus 2. I mean, you could use polynomial long division if you know it. Some people did that on the test, and that's fine. I thought synthetic division everyone would want to work with, but if not, that's okay. With synthetic division, right, we have to have x minus something. That's why we have x minus negative 2. That's why we have to have x minus negative 2, okay? All right, stop sharing. Okay, some reason I thought it stopped sharing. All right, my mistake. So now we have that. Okay. So what do? The negative 2 goes here. 2 goes here. Minus 3 goes here. 1 goes, well, no, 1 does not go here, actually. Thought I made a mistake. Actually, 1 does not go here. 1 goes here, right? There's a 0 here because we're missing the x term, right? So just like when adding and subtracting vertically, we use 0 as a placeholder. We're going to use 0 as a placeholder. So, right, that's what we have to do. At least if we're doing synthetic division, okay? All right. Now, the 2 comes down. We have negative 2 times 2, right? That's negative 4. That's why we have negative 4 here. Okay. Okay, now what do we do next is negative 3 plus negative 4, right? We add to get negative 7. Okay, that's what we get here. Negative 7. I put the arrows in here to hopefully make it a little bit easier to, to follow. At least I hope that's helping. But now we have negative 2 times negative 7. That becomes 14. All right, so then we do 14 plus 0, which is why the 14 is down here. I'm just showing all the steps because I want everyone to be able to understand, and I hope that's helping. Then we have negative 2 times 14, right? So again, we keep repeating the process. We have negative 2 times this, that number goes here, add. Negative 2 times this, that number goes here, we add. Negative 2 times this, right? That's negative 28. that goes here. That's what we have here. Then we add to get this. That's what we have here. Okay. Now, for negative 27, okay, so that's the remainder. The quotient, these numbers here give us the coefficients of the quotient. The last number here is always the remainder. So we have a remainder of negative 27. The coefficients of the quotient are 2, negative 7, and 14. Since our dividend is degree 3, our quotient will be degree 2. Remember, the quotient is always 1 degree less than the dividend. Couldn't think of the word for a second. So we have x squared as our degree. So we have 2x squared minus 7x plus 14. So altogether, we get this. Good. So that's what we get here. Okay. Now, what do we get next? Well, sorry. Okay, I thought there was something else to the example. But we have this example here. I want to do another one now. Okay? So let's do this one. First, let me stop the recording.